Hey guys, it's Damien from Marketing Food Online, and tonight I'm answering a question from a subscriber, and it actually is a great question. She is in the business, the food business, but she is selling it locally at fairs and festivals, and she's kind of tired of setting up the tents and all of the production that kind of goes along with it. So she's wondering if she should jump right into an e-commerce situation or start to sell online. So tonight I'm going to cover a little bit about the pros and the cons and what you should expect if you want to transition from selling locally to becoming an e-commerce food business. So let's get right into it. Hey guys, again, it's Damien, and you have to excuse my eyes. Today is the second, 2 days after Black Friday, and it's been about a 13-hour day. We are extremely busy, is putting it mildly. I have a lot of orders coming in, so I'm a little bit on the tired side. I might be blinking a lot during this video. So I wanted to get really quick and get into the question, and it was actually from a subscriber, and she was asking about transitioning from selling locally as far as fairs or festivals or flea markets or farmers markets, and then beginning to try to jump right into e-commerce. So I'm going to give you a little bit of my own experience. I've done both. Of course, now we are 100% online. We have 6 stores. If you don't know much about our business, we started from home and we started locally and doing some small stuff, but we've grown that business into a 6-figure, actually multi-platform on Etsy. We've sold 6 figures worth of business as well as on Amazon. And I don't say these numbers to brag or boast or toot my own horn, but we've grown, and it's taken a lot of work and a lot of time to do this. So that's why I offer these videos telling you all of the information that I've experienced doing it and how you can do the exact same thing, because I am absolutely no different than you. And you can definitely, if you stick with it and you are learning, you're open to learning a lot of new things about e-commerce, you can definitely create a 6 or even 7 or multi, bigger than that, even a business online selling food, believe it or not. So she sells locally, so that's great. That's good to know. The thing of it is, though, is that a lot of times it becomes kind of cumbersome. It's a lot of physical work because you're setting up a tent, you're setting up your signage, your tables, your tablecloths, you're setting up the whole shebang. I know how that is, and I've done that a lot. But I would recommend that if you're looking to transition to e-commerce, you might be aware of the following. So, number one, when you start to transition to being online, the thing about that is that you have to understand how the platforms work. If you're looking to sell on Amazon, Etsy, eBay, or Bonanza, or whatever it may be, you have to understand how e-commerce works, okay? The idea that you could create a website, post some products, and then people will come flooding to your website and they can find you easily, that's not how it works. It doesn't work like that at all. You have to understand a little bit, obviously, too, the basics about SEO, which is search engine optimization, making sure that the website, your listings, your descriptions, your titles, your keywords, your tags, all of that stuff comes into play. And if you've never done that before, well, then this is going to be all brand new. So it's kind of like opening a store from scratch. I would definitely stick to doing it locally still and then make a transition into being online. But that in between that time frame, you need to learn, teach yourself as much as you can about e-commerce. What is involved with the website? How to set up a website? How to optimize a website? I always recommend selling on Etsy and eBay even before you jump into Amazon, because Amazon is a totally different realm. It is not eBay. It is not Etsy. It is a notch way above the two of those even combined. When I first started, it actually was on eBay. We had about 12 items. I didn't know much about e-commerce. I didn't even know much about how to create a website. I started posting it, putting pictures up. I didn't know anything about optimization. All of that was new. Over the last 11 years, I've learned a lot about being online. And of course, now being able to offer this information here on YouTube. But I had to teach myself how to create websites. I opened up 5 different websites, closed 3 of them, and had 2 of them up and running now that are my own separate ones, aside from having a store on Amazon, Etsy, eBay, and then now we were looking into getting into Jet, but I don't think that that's going to pan out for us just because of the type of business model that we have. Jet is a totally different ballgame as well because of how the platform works. And that's the whole point of this video, is that you need to understand, when I say platform, you need to understand how you post products on Amazon is different than how you post a product on eBay. How you post a product on Etsy is different than how you post it on eBay as well. and they're all different. They're all unique. They have different features to them. In general, when you create a listing, being that you're wanting to be online, e-commerce, when you create a listing on any of these platforms, that part is very similar. You have a picture, you've got a description, you've got a title, and you've got tags and that type of metadata. All of that is relatively the same in a way, okay? But they all have different ways of measuring your performance, having your on-time shipping. Amazon is really big on a lot of different metrics. And if you don't know what those are, you don't know how to stay up with them or keep up with them or maintain it, that's going to be the trick that you need to learn. When you are selling local, it is super basic. You're going to an event, a specific place at a specific time, setting up a table, selling it. That's good. I mean, it's a good place to get started, don't get me wrong. But the amount of business and the volume of business that you have the potential to do online is far out greater and much bigger than it is selling locally. So getting onto eBay and Etsy is a great stepping stone. I have always suggested to a lot of the clients that I give consultations to when I do the consulting, I recommend that you have like about 6 to 8 months at least on those platforms before you even begin to try to get onto something like an Amazon or even creating your own website. Now, why I say that is I could sit here and explain to you how to create a website and I could show you exactly how to do it. But that doesn't mean you're going to get traffic. That doesn't mean you're going to sell anything on it or anyone's going to find you. But when you sell on eBay or you sell on Etsy or you sell on an e-commerce established website and you begin to sell your food products, you could put links to your website. When you label your food products, you can put your website name on there. You can begin to get traffic kind of from those organic transactions. So you're able to kind of leverage those websites and get your product into a customer's hands that you could have that label on there state your website, and that is a way to draw traffic to your website. Now, you can pay for traffic. I mean, I could get into a multitude of other videos explaining how to use Google AdWords, how to utilize Facebook, and a lot of other ways to advertise your website. But again, if you're a beginner and you don't understand the basics about e-commerce, all of that other stuff doesn't mean anything. It's like speaking a different language. You would not understand the impact and how it works with your website, okay? So get yourself onto a website like Etsy or eBay. Learn how to get those basics as far as create listings. I have a handful of videos here on my channel where I show you some different ways to create listings on eBay and Etsy. I haven't done one just yet for Amazon, but I can definitely do one. So I would recommend kind of getting your feet wet very slow, taking little steps to understand e-commerce before you make a transition into being on it completely. Don't give up the local sales, the local business first. So do that first, and then the next step I would recommend you to do is that when it comes to selling a product online, you may end up shipping it to another state. Well, the thing with that is that as a cottage food business, which is what you would fall under as right now when you're selling locally at a farmer's market and such, that's a local cottage food type of business where you're making it from home. You cannot necessarily do that as far as internet is concerned. You can't sell stuff from your home online. You can't make a transition to shipping a product outside of the state limits. That is something that you're not allowed to do under the cottage food law. So that's kind of where the challenge comes in, and that's the problem with doing a business from a home kitchen as opposed to a commercially licensed kitchen. Now, in some states, you can actually, if you had a separate building on your premises or on your property, or a basement that is a separate kitchen, in some states, they actually will allow you to utilize that as a commercially licensed kitchen where you can make it from that separate kitchen that's not in your home kitchen upstairs. It could be in a basement that's totally dedicated to a commercial kitchen in some places. Or if you have the property to do it, you can build one on your private residence, but it has to be a separate, physically a separate kitchen than the one that you use every day, okay? So that way you would have the ability to do something that could potentially be sold online. But again, you'd have to have commercial license to do that as a food producer, food manufacturer. Those are much different types of aspects than a cottage food business. So if you're looking to do it from home and you're selling local and you want to make a transition to the internet, educate yourself as much as you can before you take that step, because I don't want you to end up wasting time, money, resources, and all that, getting into something that you can't necessarily do from your home, because as a cottage food law, you can't, okay? But keep that in mind. Yes, it does get kind of tiresome, and I'm sure that there is a time when you've done it so much that it becomes a point where you really want to have a business online, so you're selling more of it, so you're able to make more money, and it becomes worth you actually doing. That is something you definitely want to look into. So my recommendation is don't completely give up the local sales yet, but look into e-commerce. Watch some of my videos or watch other videos on YouTube about e-commerce in general, setting up a website of your own and how does that work. So there's a lot of different dynamics that come into play when you want to create an e-commerce business or have a presence online. It's not very simple. It's not something where you can just post a product and bam, you start selling. So with that being said, I hope that helps you guys out. If it does, as always, let me know with a big thumbs up. If you have any questions about this topic, or if you want to ask me anything else down below, let me know in the comments section, and I'll see you guys on the next video.